I promised Scott I would not mess this up, so let's try. So my name is Mariana. I'm a senior product manager for News UK. I've been working in newsrooms for over 10 years, and now I oversee all the editorial tooling the Times and Sunday Times newsrooms use. And as you can see, we have Pipoca here, my cat, the most important member of the team. Joel made me say that. So, I'm going to say, almost 2 years ago, we embarked on a journey to replace a very print-focused publishing system, to replace a very... Sorry, guys, let's start again. 2 years ago, more or less, we embarked on this journey to replace a very focused print system with a WordPress-powered one. This meant 18 months of work, a lot of cross-team efforts with a lot of teams present here. We have Big Byte, VIP, content platforms, News Corp, and I could keep naming more and more. It was not possible without all of them. So it took about 18 months, a lot of delivery phases, a lot of back and forth, but the result was astonishing. Oh God. It should work, Scott. So, what did this mean for the newsroom? It meant 16% fewer clicks, a 30% faster publishing process. It meant that a lot of complicated tasks were made easier, such as adding pictures, embedding tweets, even the simple process of copy editing. Things like writing a headline, adding a stand first, which for you does not mean a lot, but for the newsroom, it's the core of what they do. After 18 months, as I said, it arrived like a Christmas miracle in December 2023. And we now have a much more digital-first focused newsroom. Again, it may not mean a lot, the future is quite bright. We can focus much more on innovation, new templates, new formats. We have a much better integration with our current tooling systems. We can make much more informed decisions. We can make what you may assume much more focused data-driven decisions as well. So again, this was not possible. We would not be able to stand here and say that we are now a digital-first newsroom without WordPress. And now I'm going to make Mohan shine.
This will not fucking open. Hey guys, this is Mohan, Principal Engineer from Times CMS team. I have 15 years of experience in the industry working on different publishing platforms and CMS. I work with Drupal for many years. It could be controversial to discuss, which we can chat Drupal versus WordPress later during the talk session. And yeah, I've been working with WordPress for last 10 years. And I published a few plugins, recently worked with block themes as well. And I'm also a translation contributor for my regional language, Tamil. Cool. To talk a bit more about the technical overview of the CMS. First, why WordPress? Because it's News Corp's tech strategy to use a common platform. So we decided to opt WordPress as a CMS. So that way we have more learning and sharing across our brands within News UK, News Corp, News Australia, and other brand and titles as well. So this particular CMS is 100% headless. When we say 100%, exactly, it doesn't do anything on the front-end clients. So this CMS is optimized and built for our newsroom to simplify the workflow. You have seen the video where we had the comparison of our print CMS and the WordPress. So where the print CMS is more on a desktop-based application, which is meant for or built for the print platform, which the Times was using to publish the digital articles. Now with WordPress, with Gutenberg in place, it gives us a real-time preview of what their users are actually doing, what they're adding, what kind of crops that they add. So it's more real time, and the editorials are so impressive, and I'm happy with the journey that they have with this WordPress workflow. And yeah, the advantage of working with WordPress VIP on this kind of systems, we potentially take advantage of use of some of the out-of-the-box tools like enterprise search to enhance our search experience for our editors editorial when they are looking for an article from a million of articles in the CMS dashboard. And we also use the Photon API, which provides us the optimization to reduce the quality of an image while they're rendering it within the editor. We have the CHP wire, which from where the image source comes from. So usually the images that we have there are like pretty much high resolution image, which might be optimal for the print system. But for us to have a good experience on the web, we don't need images with 15 MB or 20 MB. We can achieve the same kind of experience with 2 or 3 MB images. So we leverage image optimization tool to reduce the image size drastically when it's rendered in the web. And recently, we end up implementing a scheduling option for WordPress. One might ask, WordPress by default provides you scheduling. Why do you build one? Our workflow is a bit different, which I'll touch base in the next slide. So we end up implementing our own scheduling option. So for that, we used Action Scheduler, not gone through the native cron route, because we have this use case of the Sunday Times, where a bulk of article publish happens at midnight on a Sunday. So it could be somewhere between 100 to 300. So if you have a use case where we want to publish all of those 300 drafts exactly at 12 a.m. on the midnight of Sunday, we should be able to do it. So thanks to Action Scheduler for that. And lastly, we use very few blocks. Fun question, anyone know how many blocks we have in Gutenberg? When you open your block editor, any guesses how many blocks we have there? Okay, any other numbers? Sorry? Cool, so close. So literally we have 93 blocks been registered in the WordPress editor. I think it's mainly due to the full-site editing and the patterns on blocks coming our way. The interesting fact is we use only 5 of them in our enterprise CMS. That's how lean the workflow is. That's what we need. So basically what we did, we unregistered all of the block type we don't need. And we registered only the 5 core. And we built our own 7 blocks with some variations to achieve what our editor will basically want. Thanks, Mariana. So this is our high-level publishing workflow. As I said, it's headless. So we use WordPress only from the editorial perspective, where they use it to create stories. And then we have the event messaging pipeline, where every actions like your drafts or publish will go through the SNS SQS queue. And we have a Lambda which processes that message and then pushes to a GraphQL-based API called Times Public API. So that's what actually powers our front end, mobile apps, browser, everything retrieves content from the Times Public API. So WordPress emits events constantly whenever there is a change in an article. And now you see when Mariana said this is digital-first approach, you can see print CMS is now a subset of the Times CMS of the digital one. So whenever an editorial think a story is ready to be pushed to our print pipeline, so we have an option to sync from WordPress to method. So that particular process have some standards where our method CMS accept information in a certain format. So we have to do the creation of XML files and then push it in a way that our method CMS can understand. And eventually that's how the stories end in both in our website and also the newspaper. So for example, the editorial work on a stories that's been created from the whole day today, which will be synced to method, curated there. It will go to the publishing around 10 p.m. UK time, which will be ready to be published at the midnight for the next day, papers to go out. Next one, thank you. So yeah, it's not a easy journey, right? So it's always a roller coaster. So the challenges that we faced, the key one is around either we replicate whatever they add in the existing CMS, or you use the good things that Gutenberg offers, and you can optimize the workflow based on the browser-based client. So that's where we had to find the middle ground, where sometimes we let editorial win, so we implement what they ask for. Sometimes we say this is the right thing to do. They hear sometimes, so we end up doing that checks and balances and implemented them. And during this rollout, so technically we had like from 10% to 100% within a month time. So that particular rollout during the last November time was so crucial, where we can't afford to have any outages because it's a paid subscription-based platform. So we had a 24/7 support from the dev team perspective. So literally we have someone throughout that event. Whenever we add the rollout, when we onboard a new disk to a particular disk to the ecosystem to make sure they get all the support, help. So we had someone either in the office or remote waiting for any queries from editorial to sort it out. And we also add support from VIP during the process to make sure everything's all right from the infrastructure perspective, security aspect, and all sort of things. And yeah, it's also not that easy to migrate the old Newsroom, who's used to Windows-based application for maybe a decade old, where our editorial keyboard may have 200 keyboards. So it's so weird to see such workflow to change drastically overnight from a desktop-based users to use a browser-based client. So it was kind of more like user training, adjusting the behavior of the Newsroom to adapt to the new tool. So yeah, that was one of the challenges, I would say. And the other bit is around having the zero impact during this migration. None of our customers know that this backend has been changed. So it was so seamless. We made sure both the platforms synchronously publish, and at some point we cut down the publishing process from Method, the Outprint CMS, and the WordPress CMS take over completely. And the other bit is around the post-locking. That's one of the challenge we face till today. Because when you migrate users from desktop-based to web-based clients, so where people can do multi-tabbing, and they say, yeah, I close this article, but they may not. So we can't look at each and everyone's screen to make sure that it's done. So we do some sort of a training with our editorial, how the WordPress core post-locking works. And we also end up tweaking certain bits with the reducing the intervals in the Heartbeat.js to make sure the lock is persistent. So all sort of things we try to customize a bit as far as we can't go much away from WordPress core. So yeah, that's pretty much about our journey in general. This is kind of a glimpse. If you guys have more questions, you guys can reach out. And some of my team members are also here, so we'll be more than happy to expand on any of the bits that you want to know more. So thank you so much, guys.